Okay, so hi. I'm here for Unit 2, and I decided to switch it up after seeing your comments. Um, I also have a really hard time meeting the 5 minute time cap, and it's just probably going to go over because I'm chatty. And I'm just really passionate about this unit. This speaks to me on so many levels. Chapters 9, 10, and 11 are the ones that I'm going to focus on for today because I found them to be the most, not necessarily the most interesting, but like I could really just relate to them. And especially since seeing the shift, because I've lived through it, from 2011 to now, I just really feel like it could be expanded on and seen from another side. I'm always thinking about how everybody thinks of everything, and I'm not that I'm like super inclusive all the time because I should be better, but I like to think about other people's perspectives and how maybe not the norm might think about things. I also don't fit into that norm category 90% of the time. Even though I am a millennial, I definitely was born in the wrong time. So my thought process for self-disclosure, multi-communicating, and ICT are basically three things. Self-disclosure is happening more often now, I feel, because of the many platforms that we have. Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook. We don't have MySpace anymore, but if we did, we'd be sharing everything on there. We document everything and disclose so many things that used to be deemed private. We bring photographers into the hospital when we give birth to children. Not that that's bad, it's just mind-blowing to me that what used to be such a private moment and a beautiful moment shared with just a mom and dad or whoever's in the delivery room, we bring the whole world in now. And if you don't, you're almost shamed about it. I got shamed for it. Not that it really bothered me, but it's just interesting that that is the world that we live in now. And so now we almost don't even have moments, but we have moments of disclosure instead. And if that ever is coined, I get credit. I fear that we're living in a world that's now, if I don't document this, then it didn't happen. And it makes it less special if I don't share it. And a good recent event is that I went to a Lil Jon concert. I know I said I wasn't a millennial at heart, but I do love me some Lil Jon. So I went to this concert with a lot of people my age and or older. And we were there singing the songs, having a good time with our friends, while the rest of the crowd, Baylor undergrad students, were Snapchatting the event and Instagramming the event and doing all these other things instead of living in the actual concert. You used to just buy a t-shirt and be done. But besides my little soapbox on self-disclosure, I just feel that when is it going to be enough? And I don't know that if we're borderline there or if we're not there yet, but we're very close. I'm sorry, that's my Molly. This kind of leads into multi-communicating because we're on so many different platforms. Snapchat having 700 different conversations at the time. I see this in my classroom with my high school students. I didn't see it a lot in elementary, but for sure in high school. And I could imagine that it's even I would hope it's not in the classroom at the undergrad or graduate level. But it happens. I, as a student, am guilty of it too, because it's become such a social norm for us to be allowed to have our phones out all the time. For somebody whose main love language is quality time, that is when you want that person's full-on attention. And for me, if I know you're not paying attention to me when I am speaking to you, because I value words a lot. I've always used words to express myself. I've been talking since I probably shouldn't have started talking at such a young age, but I did. And I've always understood that words have such a big, powerful meaning. And for somebody to just completely ignore them because they feel that they're not important, i.e. when I'm teaching a class and a student is Snapchatting, I just find it to be so rude. While they may be able to do both of them, I just feel like either one of those people are not getting your full devotion and time, and it makes you seem less like you don't care. Which to me affects relationships and the quality of the relationship. You may have a ton of really, a lot of weak ties, but not very many strong ties are made anymore. And that really hit home for me because I'm a strong tie person. I do understand where the importance of a weak tie would come in, but for me, strong ties are where it's at. And this also hits home and kind of blends into my last point for the ICT is how often have we been playing with our kids and been scrolling through Facebook? I'm guilty. I've done it. And, it makes me think from the perspective of the child is, am I not important enough for you to put your phone down and pay attention to me? Why do our children misbehave? They're trying to get our attention because we're not focused on them. They're acting out to get the negative attention. And I understand work emails, IMing at work. There's a place for it, but I also feel that it's starting to bleed into how we manage our home lives. An image that went around on Facebook, since I'm talking about it, was how a couple was hugging each other, and behind them they were both scrolling on their phone instead of embracing the hug. And I feel like that's a very good description of how we live our life today and how we handle relationships. Not all of us, but a vast majority. Which rolls into ICT. And like so many teachers, I am very thankful for it because during the pandemic, it saved my career. I had a job, I had a livelihood, I was able to take care of my kids. But also as a teacher, your heartstring gets pulled between how do you provide for your students who needed you to hold their hand and feel secure the entire time. Mind you, I was in elementary at the time. And your own personal children, which you're at home with, and you need to devote that time to them for their education. Balancing that was huge. And I actually got called out by my son who was like, Mom, I need your help too. When are you going to teach me? And for me, that was a huge wake-up call. I'm glad he also called me out on it because I didn't see it. I was so worried about my other students, and I just felt like my kids would be fine. They had their teachers too, but we only had one computer and 4 people trying to use that computer. So thankfully I've taught their grade levels and we got them all caught up and they're fine. But the reality of balancing that work home was just way too hard. Or harder than I thought it was going to be. It's not that it was too hard. It was just I needed to get myself in check. And I think without somebody who's going to keep you in check, that line could get completely erased instead of blurred. So now that's bled over into this year where I didn't bring work home, which was a big ordeal. And if I do bring work home, it's grading papers, which is never ending, but I only do it at night when my kids go to bed. So it taught me a lot of balance. I really, really, really love this chapter. I actually really like this book. I feel like it's a little outdated, but it's basically yellow from me highlighting all the things that I'm like, oh, that's really cool, or how has this changed? So I hope you like my calm talk for Unit 2, and I will see you in Unit 3. That's 2, 3.